Best Music Compilation.
rocking. Good evening, everyone, and welcome once more to the Invictus Racing League Round 11 tonight, coming from the motherland, Mother Russia, where the bears are strong, the vodka is very strong, and the racing is, in real life at least, not the strongest in all honesty, but that's a very different story when it comes to esports racing around the Sochi Autodrome. 18 corners, big DRS straight where hopefully overtaking can happen, at least in the virtual world. It's a bit tricky to do in real life, but out here in the Esports Racing League IRL, we're hoping to get a fantastic race tonight around Russia. I am, of course, Lightshot16. You'll have to forgive me if I'm a little bit off key tonight. I've been suffering from a bit of a cold all day, in all honesty, but I'm hoping that I've shaken the worst of it off, and if I haven't, I have at least got backup once again in the form of my co-commentator TES Madman. How are you doing tonight, mate?
Much better than you, I will admit.
Yeah.
Must have been spent too much time in the cold Russian wastelands.
Yes.
Hopefully we get a good one tonight. We've got a new driver at least.
Yes, a new driver that both of us,
new
to them, not true to exactly. Yes, we'll go into him when the qualifying starts. We are looking at a fairly thin field tonight. A few drivers not able to turn up, whether it's due to work or COVID reasons or otherwise. But yeah, so I think we will have a bit of a thinner field than last week. And also, with a certain driver not showing up, it also means the title is almost certainly going to be decided tonight as well. Now, obviously, still have to see exactly what happens in this race, but the championship leader, Fair Moto, who has a 30-point lead over his nearest challenger, Farfu11. Farfu, I don't believe is turning up tonight, so yeah, I think all Fair Moto really needs to do is score a decent point. Even 1 point would probably seal it. I mean, with Farfu not in turning up, he might even be crowned champion already. But we'll wait and see what happens in the race first, and we'll try and give him a proper crowning if that does happen. The constructors, though, a completely different story however. Racing Point leading the AlphaTauri team by 5 points, with the Ferrari team a further 5 points back. So still all to play for there, although, again, I'm not sure either AlphaTauri driver is here tonight, so it could well turn into a two-horse race between the Racing Point team of Fair Moto and DZ Mates and the Ferrari team of RSF1 Maniac and Leclerc16. So we'll have to keep an eye on that battle for certainly. But Madman, what are you expecting tonight?
I'm expecting, I don't know, it's a bit tough to say what to expect. I think it'll be a bit of a shocker, I'd say. We'd get something that'll be a bit unexpected. Obviously, we've got the unknown quantity in Matt45, who has joined this league. We don't know how he will match up against the others. But yeah, I'd say keep an eye on Alfa Romeo tonight. I think there will be a strong team, both Gerbil and Matt, who we know is quick. So be interesting to see how they do.
Indeed, we obviously know Matt 45's pedigree from other leagues, and then of course Bots Gerbil, who won the last race in Azerbaijan. So yeah, that Alfa Romeo team looks dangerous. I don't think, sadly, they're in a position to win the constructors. They are a fair way back off of the Racing Point team.
They can consolidate fourth if they get some good points today. Yeah,
because I believe the maximum points on offer is 27. And with the fastest lap, so it's 28 points a race. So the maximum they could score is 56. So they are still technically in contention, but basically they would have to hope that AlphaTauri, Racing Point, and Ferrari don't score any points in the final two races, which, in all honesty, is not likely. So
yeah, they might be able to get a run on AlphaTauri though. Obviously, with AlphaTauri not here tonight.
Yeah, possibly. We'll have to obviously wait and see on that one, but there is every chance that, well, depending on how strong this Alfa Romeo partnership is, of course, but I believe the drivers are just about readying up. We'd also have another name that I'm not sure I've seen before, because he's in the Haas, but he's neither of the drivers that were racing for Haas last week. It's called Skirata X.
Yeah, do you know what? I was about to say that myself. I was just looking on the standings, going, is he one of those reserve drivers?
No,
his name's
he
not
is
there
a
anyway.
reserve driver. He's raced in a couple of races. He's only had 1 point finish, which was a 9th place at Belgium. So, yeah, he's a reserve driver, and I believe he drove for Alfa Romeo in that race. He's driven for Alfa Tauri in a couple of other races. So he's back tonight.
Oh, yeah, I've just seen his name.
Yeah, back tonight in reserve capacity, this time under the Haas team. Yeah,
Well,
fair
let's
motor's
hope
confirmed.
Haas can get their points tonight, because they're still without
Haas,
points finish.
yes, Haas still yet to score, and to be honest, they're not going to get a better chance with this. With only 12 drivers on the grid, this is probably their best chance to finally get off of that starting block mark. So let's hope Skirata can get a good race in tonight, as they're all just about readying up. We obviously went a little bit late tonight. I believe someone asking it may have been Skirata that asked, because obviously he was the last one in the in the lobby.
Actually.
Yeah. So either way, let's see how we get on around the Sochi Autodrome, as they're just loading up now. So obviously short qualifying, 18 minutes they'll have to try and get as quick a lap time as possible. In terms of strategies, I don't think there'll be too much variance here. I mean, it's well documented at this point that Russia is not particularly tough on the tyres. So, that being said, though, we have rain in the quali session. Not quite sure if that's heavy or intermediate conditions. Let's have a look at the tyres. Inter seem to be what everyone's on at the moment, but obviously we'll have to wait and see if that changes. But well,
To me, it looks like into weather, but you never know. The game can lie to you.
yeah, and of course we have no idea if it's going to dry up or if it's going to stay like this. I believe I am going to be informed of the weather momentarily. Excuse me.
With no one rushing out straight away, I wonder if it might get drier later on. Quite a few sessions this year in this game where it starts off raining and the end will be dry. It's just predicting when that dry is going to come. Oh, 2 people come out now. When the dry is going to happen.
First car out onto the wet conditions is DZ Mates in the Racing Point. Got his first podium finish last week out, just by basically being consistent and keeping the pace up around the Baku City circuit. He was absolutely ecstatic with it, and yeah, it was a good drive by DZ Mates last week. We'll have to see what he can do.
More, he says.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see. Again, good chance of a good result here with only 12 drivers on the grid. Just been told light rain throughout, may lighten after 10 minutes, so we'll see if anyone may risk the soft tyres at the end. As for the race, we're expecting all clear skies, so we'll have to wait and see.
It's going to be an interesting one on setup then.
It is going to be, because obviously you'd expect everyone to go for a dry setup knowing that the race is fully dry. That could make qualifying interesting.
Slippery.
Yes, very slippery. So we'll have to stay on board with these guys. We'll stay on board with these mates. They're all on their outlaps now. A few drivers still in the pits, but I don't think they'll be there for long. We'll stay on board with the Racing Point of DZ Mates as he's coming to the end of Sector 2. We'll see how he gets on. So, as I said in the beginning of the broadcast, Russia's not usually known for good races in real life, but when it comes to league racing, esports, I think that's a very different story. You can get some cracking races here on the F1 games. What about you, Madman? Do you have any good moments that you remember from this track?
I have a not so good moment from this season in our other league on a Sunday. I basically threw away what would have been a podium 2 laps to the end as the safety car came in because I binned it on cold tyres.
Oh dear! Oh yes, I do recall that happening. Yes, you were in a strong position for a podium finish, and you didn't warm up your tyres properly on the safety car. So that's a bit of a warning then to our drivers. Then, if there is a safety car, make sure you keep those tyre temps up, because you do not want to have happen what happened to my co-commentator. So
yes, because funnily enough, this track is one of those tracks where it doesn't look it, but every corner you're attacking extremely aggressively.
Yeah, it's deceptive just how much you are
It looks
attacking.
smooth on board, but when you're actually, well, I say on board it doesn't look smooth, but the overhead camera, the helicopter camera, whatever camera it is.
In fairness, it doesn't look smooth because it's currently wet, and DZ Mates is doing a fairly...
Yeah.
Oh, I said fairly good
That's
job.
gone.
Oh, just as I was about to compliment him, he's just put it in the wall. Fortunately, not terminal damage. So we'll move on instead to RS F1 Maniac. Oh no, that's not Maniac. That is actually Leclerc on an outlet. So I believe it's actually Bayside Snake who's next. We'll go on board.
Gee, our curses are still alive then.
Yay! I do apologise, Fairmoto. Not Fairmoto, DZ Mates. Sorry, I got confused there who I was looking at.
Yeah. I mean, luckily it's early enough in the session that you can still go in and get your tyres done. And
Put
be
it this
interesting
way,
to see how much people feel
Put
the
it
car,
this.
though.
Oh, as Mates goes very, not Mates. B-side Snake goes very wide. It's a lot better to do it now rather than in the race where your whole race could be ruined. At least now you've got time, you know, to get back in the pits and try again. So I believe the first lap is going to be set by the Williams. Bayside Snake crossed the line, 48.7, followed closely.
Immediately smashed.
Smith smashed immediately by last week's race winner, Botch Gerbil, sets a 45.0. Matt Swens, 45.3, so about 3 tenths back. What about Fairmoto? Is he? No, he's into the pit, so let's go on board instead with the Red Bull of Jamie. Jamie 29 just coming around the final corner. And he goes second fastest. Oof, not the Red Bulls once again, not separated by a lot. 45.2 for Jamie, 45.3.
Like time is around a 45 at the moment then. Just watching on board with Matt, he set another purple sector, so could be beating that any second.
Well, here comes Scrub across the line in the McLaren. Goes fifth fastest, 48.1, just ahead of Bayside Snake. So let's go on board then with the man that you just mentioned, the Alfa Romeo, making his debut tonight for IRL, Matt 45. In the intermediate tyres, let's see what he can do. Comes across the line now, and he goes fastest, about 3 tenths clear of his teammate. So Alfa Romeo 1-2 for the moment, 144.7 indeed. Wasn't okay for some reason the fastest lap won't get off screen for me, which I don't quite understand. Oh no, it's gone.
Some nice technology there.
Never mind, it's gone. False alarm.
Just gonna have a look at the sector times quickly.
Leclerc's just coming across the line in the Ferrari. 45.7 goes P6, just behind the Haas of Skirata, who set at 45.4. So midfield's looking fairly close. Second covering first to sixth. In these conditions.
Oh.
What's that?
The Maniac's just gone quickest. So
Oh, it's F1 Maniac.
Getting drier.
Now remember, he was fairly quick in those conditions, in the race last time out in Azerbaijan. So, yeah, I was expecting him to go fairly quick in these conditions.
Yeah.
Now on board with the Mercedes of Alpaca Carbon, who's completely messed up the turn 4 corner, I believe it is.
Oh, championship leader's just gone quickest.
That's Fairmoto then, and that's by a big chunk then, fastest of all then. He's had mates out there again as well on another outlap. So he's hoping to maybe make up for that mistake he made in Sector 2. But yes, our championship leader, currently fastest then in the racing points, and that puts him in a good position to basically take the title in style, because I think there's almost no doubt at this point he is going to be champion after this race, because the only man that could have stopped him is not here tonight. So no matter what, I think we are going to be crowning a champion tonight, but I'm sure Fairmoto would love for it to happen in style. Alexander Ooh, he has, yes. Alexander Pantelli in the Pantel. Is that an I? Pantelli, yes, it is Pantelli.
Yes, Pantelli.
Sorry, I couldn't quite see it. Alpaca Carbon sadly invalidated his lap, so no point staying on board.
I think Fairmoto's on another quick lap. Yeah, he's a 10th up an hour at the moment, so could be looking at 143.9 maybe.
Let's go on board then with the championship leader and soon to be crowned F2 champion.
Oh, there you go, Pantelli.
Pantelli, thank you very much. Sorry, I didn't mean to botch your name. I just couldn't quite see the I for the L there, so I just wanted to just be safe. As Fairmoto,
I'm the eyes, he's the ears.
Fairmoto crosses the line. Looking slippy, but that's a good improvement. Only by a tenth, but 44-0 now for Fairmoto. What about his teammate who is on another attempt? Currently in Sector 1, just behind Alpaca Carbon actually. We'll actually go on board with the Mercedes, who's probably on another attempt as we speak. See how he can do. On a low Mercedes this week. We recall last week he took a gamble going onto the wet tyres, which sadly didn't pay off for him. He ended up crashing out quite early doors. It was a worthy gamble, but didn't work out.
I made that mistake myself.
Didn't work out for the carbon-made Alpaca. He come through Sector 2's time zone. Looked fairly solid so far. To the left. That's a very nice line actually through that corner.
Actually really nice. I prefer intermediate conditions much more than wets. Wets are awful.
Ooh, big slide through that turn 16 there though. Yeah, I have to agree. Inters you can generally cope with even on a dry setup, but the wets, the full wet conditions, you really need a proper setup dedicated. As Alpaca Carbon goes 6th fastest, 45.1, as DZ Mates 45.0, fractionally ahead. That midfield scrap is looking very, very tasty indeed.
Yeah, they're all quite close on times actually.
Something I've just noticed, Madman. I believe the rain has stopped.
It's just stopped.
The rain has stopped. Now the question is, will the track dry out enough? We've also had a retirement as well, which I didn't notice until now. Scrub has retired. Not sure if that's a crash or...
Yeah, he crashed it in the long left-hander, turn 3 I think it's called.
Okay.
I'll get my track map up so I actually begin to say the right turn numbers this time, because...
That's alright. I'm always getting them wrong as well, so I wouldn't worry too much. And I'll tell you what, IRL F1 Maniac, he's on a good lap here. He's 2.5 tenths up, and that's purple first sector. Dan 23, who wasn't here last week, has joined, so a bit late, but we might get another driver on the grid at least for the race. Yeah, the more the merrier, I say. So
yeah,
not a bad turnout considering everything.
Yeah, you know, it's what it is. So Jamie's set soft tyres for next time. Oh no, he's back on inters. Because he'd set soft tyres. I wonder if he was just checking the delta differences.
Yeah, probably. He's probably flicking through them just to see how quickly. And it's another purple sector for IRL F1 Maniac, who really does like these conditions. We saw him last week in Baku. He was really the only one that was keeping the AlphaTauri team under pressure last week. And of course, no AlphaTauri team this week, so got to think in these conditions he's favourite. But the question is, he dives into the pits.
Well.
He's trying to.
Yeah, that was a good attempt. I'll give you 4 out of 10 for that.
Yeah, well, he said last week to get his good side. I'm not sure that's what he meant by getting his good side there. As Bots Gerbil goes fastest of anyone in the Alfa Romeo, 143.6.
Yeah, the track is definitely getting quicker and quite quickly too, actually.
Very quickly indeed. The Alfa Romeo taking pole for now, but how much longer will they stay on these tyres? In fact, the Alphas are the only ones out there at the moment. Matt 45. Though not on a lap. I get the feeling he's going to be coming in. I think we could get a mad sprint at the end on soft tyres.
Yeah, just looking at the track and then looking at the time left, I think you'll get a situation where you'll get, say, maybe 3 or 2 minutes left where you'll get 1 lap and 1 lap only. And if you've invalidated that lap, you've blown it. So Jamie's looking at going on the medium, maybe.
That's interesting. I mean, it might be worth a gamble. If you can get into the top 10 on the mediums, it's worth a try.
Yeah, if you start on the mediums, then you're literally just going to be running long. And if there is a DRS train that you can get yourself on the back of, then you'll benefit massively.
Indeed. So we'll have to wait and see if anyone does attempt the medium tyres. I think there might be 1 or 2 who may try it. But Bayside Snake leaves the session, so...
Time to set.
Oh, cut out for a second, Emma. You cut out for a brief second. I didn't know what you said. It's only brief.
He left the session, so is it something we said?
I hope not.
Bringing a bit of humour to the session, you know.
Ah, okay. Oh, and Matt Spencer's left as well. What's going on here?
Broken.
Hope not. As the last driver to comes back into the pit, spots Gerbil, presumably to put a set of softs on.
You'd think. So I'll ask I'll pick your brains here. Who do you think is going to be the surprise package of this qualifying session then?
Surprise package. I don't know why. I've got a funny feeling. I've got a feeling DZ Mates has got something to prove after his podium last week. I think he could definitely be up there, you know, to support his Racing Point teammate. Racing Point can secure the constructors tonight if they have a good enough race. Need to outscore AlphaTauri by 23 points. Well, they're not here tonight. And Ferrari by 18 points. So if they can outscore the Ferrari team by 18 points, the constructors title is definitely theirs. So a good race for both Racing Points could just see both titles wrapped up in one race. So I think DZ Mates will definitely do his best to try and get a good result to get that constructors title sealed.
Yeah, the track looks dry now as well. It's just a case of there will still be wet patches that you've just got to avoid under acceleration. That's what the drivers need to do now, because as me and you both know, a damp track is not something you want dry tyres on.
No, but it does look as though I don't see any big rooster tails of water coming up. So it does look as though I think it is definitely dry enough for the soft tyres, and indeed everyone is coming out on those soft tyres. In fact, Dan 23 in the Williams is going to get out there. We'll just have to hope that he doesn't get the known glitch where
you're thrown at the back of the grid.
Yeah, despite
I hope not, but if he does, maybe stick a set of mediums on and just run long and see what happens.
Possibly. We'll have to wait and see what happens to Dan.
This is also one of those tracks where if the safety car comes out early enough, you can almost just go for 2 sets of soft.
Indeed. We'll have to wait and see. If you are enjoying the action, do obviously make sure to go and follow us on our website, InvictusRacingLeague.com. You know, give us a subscribe here on the YouTube channel. Check out our Twitch channels as well, where some of the other races go on, from the PS4 leagues to the PC League, which I believe is also streamed on YouTube actually. But most of our races are streamed on YouTube if possible. If not, the PS4 ones definitely are. If not, the Twitch channel also has it, which I believe is InvictusRL, at least, /InvictusRL. So yeah, make sure you check us out there, and on the website if you want to sign up. So yeah, we'll go check us out there. Now let's focus on these laps then. I believe it's actually going to be Dan. No, it's not Dan. I thought he was on a fast lap, but he's not.
I believe it's Moto will be the first.
Well, let's go on board then.
He's invalidated.
He's invalidated as he's... Well, that could be very costly then, because will he have enough time for another lap? As Dan 23 also invalidates, and he almost certainly will definitely not have enough time for another lap. And that is something I was worried about here, where, yeah, as you can see, invalidated lap. Now, does Fairmoto have enough time to get round and try again?
So I think these mates will be the first one to set a lap on the dry tyres.
Yeah.
It's looking fairly clean so far.
These mates then, obviously, we first car out in the wet conditions. Ooh, very close to the wall there in the Racing Point.
That's using all the track.
And he's already 5 seconds up on the time, so that's a good, clear indication the soft tyres are working very well here. He has got an Alfa Romeo behind him, which I believe is Matt 45. Who's about to start his lap, so hopefully once DZ Mates completes he will get out of the way. But then Matt 45 has got to make sure he's not in the way of Skirata behind. I think he's already gone, so I think he won't be getting in the way. So DZ Mates crosses the line. 36-0 is the first time on the board then. Can anyone get close? Jamie 29 is in sector 2. I don't think we'll see him for a while, but we do have RS F1 Maniac has not made it, nor has Alpaca Carbon. They've left it too late. Leclerc. 133.8. That's a great time by Leclerc there. 133.8. Dan has spun, so he will be starting this race on the back of the grid, unfortunately. But some of
Snake is also out.
it looks as though some of these drivers may have mistimed their attempts and aren't even going to set a lap time. Here comes Jamie 29, if I can find his name. On the thing, there he is. He's in the pits, so he's made a mistake. Maybe invalidated somewhere, so he won't be setting a lap time. What about Fair Moto then? Championship leader, almost certain to be champion after this race. He is 3 seconds up. I think would have been hoping for a bit more there. Can't go on board with him because he's got the engine glitch. Oh, but it's now 7 seconds up at the end of sector 2, so maybe it's looking a bit better for him. Bots Gerbil then goes fastest of all, 33.5. He was on pole last week. It definitely put him in itself in a good position to maybe go pole again. But this man is looking quick. Can Fair Moto snatch it from him? As he comes around the final corner then. The championship leader goes fastest, 32.2. Here comes Matt 45 though. He's looking quick as well. Not quick enough though. Goes P2 for Matt 45. Matt Wenz has stolen it from him though. Great effort by the Red Bull to go P2.
Yeah, I just picked him up in sector 2, just coming into sector 3, and he had gone purple, and he just looked really tidy, and Segurata just got out of his way. I think he must have either invalidated, just invalidated. So he's invalidated and just let him go.
So it is pole position and goes to our championship leader Fair Moto, but Matt Wenzer has just been tagged by an AI Ferrari, which is weird. But fellow Matt Wenzer goes P2 then, ahead of the debutant Matt 45. In fact, it's an Alfa Romeo second row with Bots Gerbil P4. And then DZ makes P5, Leclerc P6. And those were the only guys who set times on the soft tyres in the end. Everyone else backed out of their laps. And that could actually be an interesting thing, because RSF1 Maniac P7 on the intermediate tyres. So theoretically, that means he's got a fresh choice of tyres from P7.
I wonder if that's why some of them backed out, because
potentially
they want the fresh rubber and they could choose whatever tyre they want to start on. So they could just start on mediums.
They could indeed. We'll have to wait and see what they do. But it is pole position then, as I said, Fair Moto first, followed by Matt Wen second, Matt 45 third. We'll go over the full grid momentarily when the lobby kicks over into the race. But yeah, what a quali session. What a quali session.
These are mates with P5 in the end as well. He must have gone down another lap.
Yep, improved just to get ahead of Leclerc. So, yeah, racing points 1 and 5th. Alfa Romeo 3, 4. Red Bull in P2 as well. So, a good effort from Matt Wenz to put it on the front row. Next to the championship leader and the man who surely will be crowned champion tonight. But let's go over the full grid once more just before we get underway then. So, pole position goes to Fair Moto. On the day he's likely to be crowned champion of F2, he's put himself in a good position to do it in style. On the pole position of the grid, next to him, the Red Bull of Matt Wenz. He's looking for a better race than he had in Baku, even though he did finish. I'm sure we'll be hoping for a bit more here, and he starts on the front row. Matt 45 making his debut tonight for F2. He starts in P3, and the Alfa Romeo team lock out the second row with last week's pole position man and race winner Bots Gerbil only managing P4 today, but he's still very much in that fight. In P5 is DZ Mates, hoping to have a good race to solidify Racing Point's Constructor Championship, which could be crowned tonight if they outscore the Ferrari team, who are directly behind DZ Mates. Leclerc in P6, RSF1 Maniac P7. They need to get in amongst those Racing Points if they're going to keep the Constructors title alive. And then in P8 we have Alpaca Carbon, the lone Mercedes on the grid, followed by the second Red Bull of Jamie 29, and then rounding out the top 10 is the lone Haas of Scarata. Is this the day that Haas can get themselves off of the 0 point mark? We'll have to wait and see what the American driver can do. Outside the top 10 then, 11th is Scrub in the McLaren, and then 12th and 13th, the two Williams of Bayside Snake and Dan 23, rounding out the grid. Real life very much meeting the esports world there, as Williams towards the back, but we'll have to wait and see if they can maybe produce a bit of a surprise today. So, what are we expecting then, Madman? Are we expecting fireworks? Are we expecting madness?
I think expect a bit of both. You know, firework night's coming up, so why not have a bit of fireworks as well? Throw it in there.
Hey, fair point.
I think the top 3 qualifiers won't finish in those positions. I think there will be a surprise, maybe from between 4th and maybe 10th.
Possibly.
Jumping on it. I mean, I'm just looking at the tyre choices now, and 9th to 13th are starting on the mediums, and so is Maniac. Everyone else is on the softs. So Alpaca Carbon, and then from 6th onwards.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see how these medium runners can contend with the soft runners, especially early on when the softs will be quicker, a lot quicker.
We'll confirm those tyres in a second once the grid loads up. Don't forget, once again, if you do want to join this league, go join us at HTTPS. I don't know why I'm saying that. www.InvictusRacingLeague.com. Obviously, go give us a subscribe here on the YouTube channel. Go check us out on Twitch as well. / Invictus Racing League, not Invictus RL. My apologies for my earlier mistake. But we are just about getting underway then. So let's have a look at those tyre strategies then. And it is, as I predicted then, mediums on everyone except Alpaca Carbon from 7th down. So Alpaca Carbon, the only one who's going to follow the route of the front runners. So it is 7 on the softs, it is 6 on the mediums. So literally the field splits in half on which strategy they've gone for, which will definitely make it interesting, that's for certain.
Yeah, it is interesting when you think about it, because like you say, like I said, the softs are going to be a lot quicker to start off with, and they do go for quite long, but the issue is when the deg hits in, your times will drop quite quickly. It's just whether the medium runners can hang with them to make the strategy work.
Very much so. So we've got a lot of narratives going into this race, though. Obviously, we've got Fairmoto, the championship leader, almost certainly going to be crowned as long as he has a good race. In fact, even if he doesn't, with his nearest rival not here, I don't think there's anyone else who can really stop him from taking that crown. Matt Wens obviously wants a good race. Matt 45 wants a good debut-on race. Bots Gerbil, winner last week, he wants a good race to make it 2 for 2 perhaps. DZ Mates wants to solidify Racing Point's Constructors Championships. Then you got the Ferrari boys who want to try and jump into that constructor battle. They need a good race to do so. And then we've got also P10 Skirata in the Haas. Can he be the one to finally give Haas their first points of the season? Very late on, but can he do it? And then of course we've got the Williams boys at the back as well, who want to prove they are quick. And I'll tell you what, Fairmoto going very slow here. This is could be a bit of a tactic being played here by the fairest of all motos.
Well, sometimes on a formation lap, especially when you're leading it, the cars at the back can sometimes drop right off, and the last thing you want to do is arrive to the grid with nice warm tyres and then start with ice cold tyres. That's never fun, especially arriving to turn 1.
No, it is not.
Yeah, but I think the medium runners have really got to get their tyres switched on early, I think, because we have noticed that, especially on this track, the mediums do take maybe a lap or 2 pushing to warm up, to really get up to speed. So it'd be interesting to see how quickly they can warm those tyres up.
It will indeed be. So they're just coming around the end of the formation lap. It will be the Williams of Dan 23, the last driver to slot into his grid position.
And here comes the predicted tyre strategy. Well, we all know it's soft and medium. I don't think anyone's going to use the hard today.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if anyone goes for the hard tyres today. But here we go then. We have 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And in Mother Russia, we are underway. It's a good start, I think, by everyone except for the Haas, who's had a shocking start, it seems, at the back there. Dan 23's not had a good start either, yeah. But I tell you what, it's all getting mixed up in that midfield there, though. Matt 45 and Bots Gerbil. Alpaca Carbon's had a fantastic start from 8. Oh, he's just hit the back of the Alpha, and that's Bots Gerbil spinning. That's Bots Gerbil, last week's race winner, now down in 13th place. Oh, and I tell you what, Matt Wen's had a fantastic start. He's up into 1st position ahead of Fairmoto. Matt 45 3rd, Alpaca Carbon, great start for him from 8th on the grid. Jamie 29 5th, Leclerc 16 6th, Racing DZ Mates there for P6 there. RSF or Maniac down in 8th place now, scrubs up to 9th. Skirata stays in 10th ahead of Bayside Snakes, who's also not had a great start. Dan 23 back onto the back of the grid now. Does Bots Gerbil have damage? No, he does not, so he can hopefully recover onto the back of the grid. And I'll tell you what, Bayside Snake has let Dan 23 go. Seems to be struggling there in the Williams. With Botch Gerbil right behind him now. As Skirata and Scrub racing for P9 and P10 as Scrub's trying to get ahead, but I think Skirata's got him covered. Skirata up into P9 then for the Haas team. Well, what a start that was.
Yeah, what a first lap, I was about to say. Jamie 29 sitting very pretty in P5 on those mediums. But yeah, what a start from Matt, straight through into the lead.
Yeah, that's a fantastic start though for his teammate though, from P9 on the grid up to P5. So Red Bull having a very strong start to this race. As Fairmoto, what's happened to Fairmoto? Oh, wait, no, he is still second. I think his time is just.
Oh yeah, it's that bloody timing glitch.
That bloody timing glitch again.
I would say Matt 45 is under pressure from Alpaca Carbon at the moment. He's had a quite good start as well. He's flying through the field. I think he started playing.
He started P8, and remember he started on fresh softs, whereas everyone, whereas the top 6 started on used softs that they used in qualifying. So Alpaca Carbon, in terms of the soft tyres at least, he's got the freshest of the lot.
Yeah, he's made a good call, to be honest, to start on those softs, because it's worked out for him. He's got through all of the cars in front of him and he's sitting in P4.
Very good call indeed, as Skirata meanwhile is really right now on the back of RSF1 Maniac and DZ Mate, so showing some good pace in that Haas, while Dan 23 is ahead of Scrubs and Botched Gerbil in the battle for the final points position. Botched Gerbil trying to make up for that disastrous start. There's no other way really of calling it. I think there was contact though with one of the, I think it was the Mercedes of Alpaca Carbon, but obviously we'll have to look back on that.
I think Alpaca Carbon's hit one of the Alphas from behind, and that might have pushed that Alpha into the other Alpha, which spun them. I'm going to say
Botched Gerbil has got ahead. Botched Gerbil's now ahead of Scrub. He just got it at the end of that DRS zone. Of course, there is no DRS until this lap. There's Dan 23, big spin for the Williams. He's hit the wall. Oh, disaster for Dan 23. Is he going to keep going?
Yeah, it looks like he's still going to keep going unless he goes, well, see if he can carry on.
Yeah, we'll have to come into the pits. His wing is completely shorn off now, as Matt Wentz still leads, but Fairmoto is hounding him now. And I tell you what, his teammate has been passed. Has he been passed? Oh, contact between Leclerc and Jamie 29, who's still struggling on those medium tyres.
He's got a damaged wing now.
He does indeed, but he's still fighting back against Leclerc, but not able to do it. And we'll just have to hope that damage isn't too serious for the Red Bull, because he was having a fantastic start and now all of a sudden he's being swallowed up by both Ferraris. As Skirata, first time penalty goes to the Haas driver down in P9.
Yeah, we'll be seeing more of those from everyone, I think. This track is Corner Cut Central, or Track Extension Central, whatever you want to call it. I've just noticed that the front 4 are splitting into 2 groups, the front 2 and then the next 2.
Indeed, Fairmoto and Matt Wentz racing each other, while Matt 45 has to deal with Alpaca Carbon behind. Matt's having a solid debut so far. I think everyone were maybe expecting him to be really dominating this race, but not to be the case. Matt 45 is still in the fight, but he's got... Well, he's in a very strong 4-car fight here, but he's got to try and get onto the back of Fairmoto, otherwise he may just be a bit of a sitting duck for the Mercedes of Alpaca Carbon. Now, on to lap 4 then, as Fairmoto leads the session. Fairmoto's left the well, Jamie,
nice to see that from Cody's again.
As Jamie 29 comes into the pits, and it was just as he was perhaps lining up a move on Matt Wentz, but won't happen now, obviously.
Just hope he doesn't really drop back too far off so that he can stay within that kind of bubble, because that was some good racing really between the two of them.
Meanwhile, Skirata, despite the penalty, he's now closed up to the back of DZ Mates. He's shown some very good pace on those medium tyres. Only RSF1 Maniac ahead, and not by a lot, especially when you consider the Maniac was 4 places ahead of him in terms of position on the grid. Skirata is...
Fairmoto's back in.
Fairmoto's back in. Jamie's just coming out of the pits. And, well, that goes to show you, he's now on soft tyres, so he does not want any part of those hard tyres, and it's probably the right decision. Dan 23's on the softs as well. Ooh, big moment for Skirata, but he just about holds it. While Matt 45 is taking advantage of Fairmoto's disconnection to jump into P2.
Yeah, unlucky for Fairmoto there. I think when he gets back in, I think he'll be back all over the back of Matt again. And we'll be looking to try and get past that Alfa Romeo as quickly as possible. Whether he can do that, of course, is another thing. Because as good as it is for overtaking here, you can get stuck in DRS trains.
And Alpaca Carbon is going to put the pain even more so on Fairmoto. Up into P3 for the Mercedes. As Skirata gets another penalty. He's pushing hard, maybe too hard then in that Haas. Because he's got another penalty.
Where would that would drop him? I think that would just drop him down to 10th.
Just behind Scrubs.
Yeah, Bayside.
Yeah.
Snake isn't close enough yet, but yeah, Maniac doing quite well on those mediums, and he's the highest medium runner after Jamie had to take the early pit stop.
Yep, and keeping with his teammate Leclerc 16, and they are slowly, very slowly, just crawling back onto the back of the top four. So Ferrari's pace looks solid so far. We'll have to wait and see if it continues. Of course, Fairmoto I think needs to jump back into the grid quick. Otherwise, he does risk getting swallowed up by that Ferrari team. And of course, while he is almost certainly going to be driver champion after the race, the constructors are still open, and the Ferrari could pull off a surprise if they can keep the pace that they're going up.
Yeah, I mean, Ferrari are doing really well, and they are together as well, so they can help each other. Oh, Dan 23 is retired. Looks like it's in the pit.
Yeah, retirement in the pit, so perhaps maybe just arriving late hasn't helped his race at all. As Alpaca Carbon got very close to the back of Matt 45 there, not close enough to go for a move, but he's definitely pressuring.
Just checking out in front.
Yeah, Matt's wins in the Red Bull, 2.8 seconds the gap, and he is showing some very good early pace here in that Red Bull. Showed some good pace in Baku as well. It didn't quite work out for him amazingly there, but he's in a very good position for the moment. I think
he's very consistent in Baku, kind of just didn't make mistakes. Well, until the last lap.
Another 3-second penalty for Skirata.
And Bayside Snake's just got one as well, so Bayside Snake doing well to make help Skirata stay in front of him at the moment. But yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see how long Matt can keep this pace going, because I wonder if he's going to take out more out of his tyres compared to the next two.
Well, he has lost a couple of attempts to Matt and Alpaca there, but then I think they are racing each other very hard as well. Jamie 29, fastest lap, but he is well down the field, but that goes to show you what a fresh set of softs can do. So IRL F1 Maniac might be looking at that and thinking, okay, if I can just keep this pace up on these mediums. He's only a couple of seconds off of his teammate, who in turn is closing in on Leclerc, who on Fairmoto. Fairmoto still has not rejoined, even though I'm sure he got back into the game.
Yeah, I wonder if he's having issues picking his car, because I know that is an issue. I've not heard it in a while, but I wonder if that is rearing its ugly head again.
Well, he needs to get him quickly.
He's joined again.
He's joined again.
Maybe he didn't get in.
Maybe he joined and then disconnected again. So maybe some problems going on for the championship leader, and he's about to fall victim again as Leclerc 16 all over the back of him. Meanwhile, Skirata and DZ Mates in their own little fight, with Bots Gerbil getting involved as well. Skirata finally passes the racing point.
Seems to be liking those mediums.
He is. He's doing very well on them. Now, back in the battle for P2. Alpaca Carbon, is he close enough? Matt 45 taking some very interesting lines. Obviously, you allowed one defensive move, which I think he made, and then returned to the racing line. Matt 45 keeps ahead. And that's some very intelligent driving there by Matt 45. Knows he can make one defensive move and then cut back onto the racing line. He's done that very fairly there.
Yeah, I think at the moment, my interval's gone funny again. The Fairmoto's back in now.
He is indeed.
Yeah, I think at the moment, Alpaca Carbon's just going to have to kind of just wait it out a little bit, because Matt's Wayne's isn't
miles ahead.
So far, yeah, he's not so far ahead that you can't even think about getting the win. So, it's a case of maybe just picking your moment and sending it, because I think you just need to save up some ERS, like you've said to me before, and just go for it on a lap. Just absolutely go for it, hammer it, and see what you can get. I mean, even the undercut works quite well here.
Yeah, now Fairmoto could not have timed his return better because he was about to be passed by the medium running IRL F1 Maniac. Meanwhile, the battle for P7 is really hotting up here. DZ Mates and Bots Gerbil trying to keep with the medium running Skirata, who I just wonder if those mediums are they maybe just starting to become the better tyre at this stage, because we are on lap 8 now. Oh, but another free second penalty. Oh, they are going to come back and haunt him later on, I fear.
It's going to be one of those. He'll finish like P6 and then drop down to P11, and I'll get upset because I really want Haas to get
yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. He has got DZ Mates in the DRS. Meanwhile, further ahead, IRL F1 Maniac trying to pass Fairmoto. Dives up the inside. Oh, I think he's forced Fairmoto wide a bit there. And Fairmoto has to give the place up.
Yeah.
He passed, so he lets IRL F1 Maniac ahead of him into P5 then for the highest running medium runner, the Maniac, up into the top 5. And I tell you what, Ferrari are looking good for a good result here with their rivals down in P6 and P7, and both of them on the same strategy as Leclerc, who's in P4. They are a fair bit off the top 3, but
I wonder if it's almost worth taking like a... Oh,
and that's a crash though for Maniac. He's lost it on that turn. I think that's turn 10, turn 11 or something.
About half of his wing as well.
Oh, has my commentator curse struck again then? I was just about saying he was doing good on those tyres, and then all of a sudden this happens. Oh, he's going to hate me when
Skirata picks up yet another 3-second time penalty.
Oh, wow, Skirata's getting a lot of them. He's being attacked by Bots Gerbil as well. DZ Mates has passed him.
got ahead of him as
yeah,
well,
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that at all. And so Skirata's maybe having some problems. Maniac's going to have to come into the pits, and that's annoying for him because I don't think the softs will get to the end from here. So what tyres is a
massive push.
Yeah, I'm not sure what tyres he'll put on. Into the pits he comes. So Skirata takes P7, Bots Gerbil P8. I think they're all going to...
Alpaca Carbon's just dropping off the back of Matt 45 a little bit. I wonder if maybe he's saving a bit of fuel. He doesn't look like he's saving any ERS at all, really, but yeah, maybe he's just saving a bit of fuel, maybe?
Bots Gerbil gets a 3-second time penalty for his trouble. He was really close on the back of Skirata there. And indeed, Maniac has come out on the soft tyres. He's going to come out well behind Jamie 29, actually, so as Fairmoto gets a 3-second penalty as well.
Just before he lost the car then, I was about to say maybe it's worth Fairmoto coming in early, getting a set of softs on, and then maybe hoping for a safety car to bring him back into it later on to get another set on. Because they've all got copious amounts of soft tyres to use. They
do indeed. But obviously no safety cars come out yet, despite a few incidents, but obviously there's not been any major retirements. The only retirement so far is Dan 23, and he retired in the pit lane, deciding not to take any further part in the race, which is a shame. So we got 12 still running.
I was going to say, while the race calms down a little bit, because you get that little lull at a certain point.
Yeah.
How do you think Max will be able to hold on to this lead he's got at the moment? Because he just seems to be edging.
And into the pit zone, Matt 45, so perhaps going to go for an undercut here. You were just mentioning that. That's quite an early stop. That's lap 9. That's quite early.
Just my pit window's now, well, the
Leclerc's in as well.
For lap 10, so he's coming a lap early. Obviously, he will have obviously fresh tyres, so he'll be able to attack and maybe pull.
And meanwhile, Skirata trying to go. Oh, he's trying to get past DZ Mates. Very, very, very quick turn by Skirata to avoid hitting him, and Skirata now takes P4 away from
clean as you like.
Now, despite the penalties that he has accrued, it does have to be said
Bots Gerbil's just got past DZ Mates as well.
So DZ Mates may be struggling on these worn soft tyres then.
Alpaca Carbon's just picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. That won't help him.
Bayside Snake gets one as well.
Against Matt 45.
Yeah,
maybe he's just pushing to try and get the undercut.
Despite the penalties Skirata has got, he is still the highest running medium runner who hasn't had to pit early. So, big slide there though. That's the place Maniac lost it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one, that one. You want to get it just right, but you don't want to turn too much left because the car will literally just lose its rear end, as we've seen Maniac do. I was just going to say, Scarata's got himself in a nice position where he is quite comfortably ahead of Scrub. So, at the rate he's picking up his penalties, I still think he might finish ahead of him at this rate.
He could do, as Jamie 29 eases past Bayside Snake, and I think Leclerc 16 is going to follow him. Yes, he is. Obviously, Leclerc on fresh mediums, Jamie 29 on used softs. Oh, and that's a loss of control, I think, there for Bayside Snake. I think he cut the corner and had to do very well there not to smash into the side of Leclerc or Jamie. So, good work not to hit anyone there, at least. So, as he recovers, and now he's got RSF or Maniac behind him. Into the pits there, Botch, Gerbil and Fair Moto, both I presume onto the soft tyres. The Mats is going longer than anyone here at the moment.
Yeah, the front two have extended again, so I wonder if...
It makes sense for Alpaca Carbon. Remember, he started on a fresh set of softs, so theoretically he could go longer, but Mats is showing some very good tyre preservation here to go just as long, if not longer than anyone else. So
yeah, so I'm just looking at the gaps to leader. Matt 45 is currently 26.4 seconds behind the leader. What is it, about 22 second pit stop
23, 20, yeah, somewhere around there. It's quite slow, but it's not the slowest pit lane in
so
the
at
calendar.
this rate, if Alpaca Carbon comes in, he'll come out behind Matt 45, but ahead of Scrubs. I think, obviously Scrubs is on the U set of mediums, so ideally Alpaca Carbon's going to want to get out ahead of Scrubs, so he's not held
Meanwhile,
up
Leclerc, I don't think Jamie fought that one too hard. I think Jamie decided he doesn't want any part of Leclerc's race. He's just let the Ferrari go there. Up into P7 then for Leclerc. Well,
the leader's in. Alpaca Carbon staying out for another lap.
Okay, so the race leader comes in. Now we need to see where Matt 45 is in comparison. There he is, P5. So here he comes. Escarata's in. And that's that's a retirement in the pit lane. Why has that happened? Why is he retired in the pit lane? He was still running fairly well, unless he's had an incident. Not sure what's happened.
Maybe he got damage. Quite upsetting, actually.
No, I'll tell you what, though. And unfortunately, that does mean Haas will remain on 0 points going into the final round at Vietnam. I tell you what though, Matt 45 has made that undercut work very well. He's now within 1.3 seconds of Matt's. The only problem now, of course, is he's going to have much worse tyres than Matt's.
Yeah.
So
he has the benefit of the warm tyres, so he'll close in. You'd expect. Oh, maybe not actually. Matt's is just pulling away a little bit, but
3 second time penalty.
3 second time penalty. So. That's music to Carbon's ears, who's got one himself.
Yeah, that means it's neutralised there. I don't think Matt's has a penalty yet, but obviously I'm not going to check just yet.
Last I checked, he had a warning.
Okay. So
Carbon's staying out. He must be hoping that the fresh mediums...
Into the pits he comes out.
Oh, he's coming.
He's coming in now.
Those mediums will be a lot nicer at the end of the race, so maybe he's hoping he can have a massive attack on Matt at the end.
Possibly.
He should come out P3?
I think he'll come out P3 ahead of Scrub, who's still yet to stop. The only man now that hasn't stopped, apart from Bayside Snake, who's down in 11th place. So Scrub running fairly well then for McLaren there. I mean, I think he is going to drop out of the points, although he might still be ahead of Bayside Snake when they eventually pit as well. So Matt and Matt's... That's not going to be confusing at all.
Yeah, I'm already going.
Now here comes Scrub down the pit lane.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be close. I think he's just cleared the McLaren though. And yet Alpaca Carbon stays P3. Meanwhile, Jamie 29 in Leclerc's slipstream. He's got Fair Moto behind him as well. So Fair Moto getting involved in this fight. The fight now for currently P5 will probably be P4 once Scrub pits, and obviously Jamie's not really in this fight. Oh, that was close. Goes on the inside. Jamie doesn't fight too hard. Oh no, he does.
Jamie's just appeared in front of him.
Oh, so there was a bit of lag going on there. I'm not quite sure what was.
He just appeared in front of him.
That was weird.
I think teleporting cars are illegal. Might have to check that one out.
Yeah, I don't know what rule that is in the rule book, but it definitely is one. So, Alpaca Carbon staying out longer, it definitely hasn't really helped him. He's 7 seconds off of Matt 45 now, but it could come back towards him towards the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see. how he progresses on those fresh and medium tyres.
Yeah, he did look quicker in the first stint, but I wonder if that's
Here comes
because he was
Fairmoto.
in the
Oh,
DRS.
brave, very brave by Fairmoto, but nowhere to go. He dives on the inside. Jamie, contact between Fairmoto and Jamie. Oh, reigning champion or not, that was very over-aggressive, I have to say there. Bit of frustration
I will say
maybe
Jamie
showing.
gave him a bit of respect though, a lot of respect, because he kind of knew he was going to be there and he just gave him the space to try and at least attempt it, but obviously it didn't pay off.
And now RS F1 Maniac now on the back of this group now. He's been slowly closing in. Now obviously we think surely him and Jamie will have to stop again. I mean Jamie almost certainly will. RS F1 Maniac, I think
He'll do well to take them to the end.
Yeah, it'll be a bit of a push, and Fairmoto is going to just ease his way past the Red Bull this time. And I think, is RS F1 Maniac? No, not quite close enough. I think he knows that Jamie's
not looking quick on this medium stint. Yeah, he's dropped about 5 tenths to map 45.
RS F1 Maniac up the inside of Jamie, round the long left-hander, and he takes P7 away from the Red Bull then. Good move.
Nice move. I'm actually on board with that as it happened as well, and I'm still thinking about Alpaca Carbon. I wonder if he's just easing onto his stint, maybe.
Potentially, you know, maybe just wants to keep his tyres nice and fresh. We know that Mat 45 is probably going to, if there are any tyre issues to be had, Mat 45 is definitely going to be the first to hit them of those top 3.
Yeah. I think the one to look at for those is kind of Scrub and Bayside Snake, seeing when their drop-off sort of happens, because I've noticed on this game, when you do get tyre drop-off, you get tyre drop-off. You know, it's not gradual, it kind of just happens.
You definitely do, yes, absolutely. So now, Fairmoto and RS F1 Maniac just easing away from Jamie 29 now in their battle for P6. Oh, big slide though for the Ferrari.
That's not going to help his tyres.
No, it is definitely not. Yellow flag, sector 3, it's Bayside Snake. That's a crash. That's a crash at the end of sector 2, down the DRS straight. Now, is that a potential safety car? It's a virtual one. It's a virtual safety car, but unfortunately, everyone has passed the pit, so no one's going to be able to take advantage of it. So, VSC deployed.
Not what you want to see. Virtual safety car. I mean, some drivers probably won't for a real safety car, but
I think Scrub would have been praying for a real one there.
Oh, yeah. But it's an interesting one, because looking where that is...
Oh, and it's ended.
Yeah,
ended already.
Alpaca Carbon lost out quite a bit to that, actually.
He did a bit, yeah. Mat 45's lost a bit to Matt's Wens as well. So, I think the Red Bull is in good shape, has to be said, leading the race. 2.3 seconds now the gap, and he's on fresher tyres than Mat 45. So, it's looking like, well, still a fair way to go, but at the moment it does look as though it's Matt's Wens to lose here. I don't want to say any more than that, just in case.
I was going to say, I don't want to use have a curse like you, but I was just going to say, Matt Wens hasn't got a podium or a win this season, so that'll be a first for him.
Has he not?
No, I just checked the table now, and he's
you're absolutely right.
Highest points was 5 points, which he's got on 4.
No, he got 8 points at Hungary.
Hungary.
So that would have been a 1, 2. That would have been a 5th place, I think, in Hungary. So yeah, this is looking like potentially his best result of the season by a long way. As into the pits comes his teammate Jamie 29. So I presume this will be another set of soft tyres, as Fairmoto gets a penalty for multiple warnings. Interesting little fight developing here, because Leclerc is closing in on Scrub, who's still yet to pit. I think Scrub is just basically trying to hope for a safety car at this point.
Yeah, I would expect him in at the end of this lap, maybe.
Yeah, potentially. As Fairmoto, I think, is going to try and go around the outside of Scrub as well. And as is RS F1 Maniac, Scrub just has no grip at the moment. He's losing places left, right and centre. He's now down to P7. Both Ferraris and Fairmoto get ahead. And he's dropping down the field. I think he will have to pit this lap, I think. Probably could have.
16 laps for the mediums.
Yeah.
Which doesn't bode well for Matt 45. Because
he pitted on lap 9, so he's going to be taking his, 16 laps, but...
Yeah.
No, more, yeah, 16 laps.
17, I think.
17, no, you're absolutely... No, 18, sorry. I'm getting... I am good at maths.
We're really good at maths.
Yeah,
we're really good with numbers.
I'm supposed to be good at maths, I'm sorry.
Same.
Sloppy Cop in the chat saying, come on, TES Nisani. For those of you who don't know, that's Matt 45's alter ego.
Yes, brought him out of retirement today, actually.
He did indeed. Thank you very much for the compliment as well, Vojetcraft. I think that's how you pronounce it. Vojetech.
It's got one of those accented E's, but I just don't know what accent that E is. So,
yeah,
I mean,
again, that's going to be something you might have to tell me how to pronounce that. I do apologise, but thank you very much for the compliment on the commentary. We're definitely trying our best. Like I said,
I'm staying out another lap.
Wow, so he's really praying for a safety car at this point, because I think Botch Gerber's going to make absolute mincemeat of him behind.
I'll tell you what, we've got 10 runners left, so points for everyone at this rate. Well, points for everyone anyway.
Fair point, yeah. Absolutely right. Well, we've had 3 retirements, both Williams and the Haas of Skirata. Bayside Snake was the latest one a couple of laps ago.
If Alpaca Carbon wants to get P2, he's really going to have to get a move on now.
He is indeed. Left. Well, RS F1 Maniac, meanwhile, is fighting Fair Moto for P5. Oh, now these two have a lot of respect for each other, but no love lost shown there. Fair Moto absolutely defending for his life. And I just wonder if RS F1 Maniac, I think he probably has to stop again, but I wonder if he's just trying to put the race point under pressure to give his teammate a gap.
Yeah, maybe, because obviously Ferrari are still in a bit of a constructors battle.
Indeed they are. They need to score as many points as they can. I mean, with how Leclerc's doing now, I don't think Racing Point are going to outscore them by 18 points, so I'm pretty sure the constructors title at least, will stay alive. But
Scrub's still sitting on the back of Botch Gerbil actually by 5 tenths. So has he been passed by him, or
he's been passed by him? Yeah, he was passed down the DRS straight, I believe. I think Scrub is really
shows how much we're paying attention.
Yeah, but I had an eye on it, but I think Scrub is just really struggling on those meetings. I'm sure he's going to have to come in, and indeed into the pits he's coming. He's coming in now. A good effort, 16 laps on the mediums. Oh, and into the pits comes the McLaren. Now he's going to come out. I think he's going to come out last, but he will be on fresh softs. So we'll see what his pace is like towards the end.
Be interesting to see what kind of times he can do and how much faster he'll be. We've got Roland in the chat now as well, saying go on Matt 45. So yeah, support for Matt 45 it seems, as Jamie 29 just sets the fastest lap of the race on his fresh set of soft.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the chat, Sloppy Cop informed me that the E with the thing over it is pronounced Yi, so it's Vojetcraft.
Ah.
Absolutely right, and yeah, and he's confirmed that. And we got Roland in the chat as well. Hello, Roland. Hello, Sloppy. Thank you very much for being here to watch this race. Currently, the midfield is providing the action as RS F1 Maniac and Fair Moto and Leclerc all within 2 seconds of each other. Fair Moto closing on the Ferrari, and I just wonder if RS F1's, if the Maniac's tyres are starting to fade, because he's just starting to fall off of his teammate, and
fighting that a little bit as well.
Yeah,
a bit twitchy,
just a bit, and you sense that surely Maniac's got to come in, and indeed into the pits. I think he's just coming in there, so he'll probably come out 9th behind Jamie.
So just looking at the gap in front, Carbon's closing in a little bit, but nowhere near enough if he wants to try and take second or even first place. He needs to be doing over a second a lap now, and I just don't think he's got that.
I'll be brutally honest. I think Alpaca Carbon's, his pace on the softs is fantastic. His pace on the mediums just doesn't seem to be able to match the top two ahead.
Yeah, and I will say he's also on for his first podium of the season. I
think we're gonna get everyone getting their first podiums of the season. Matt 45, of course, making his debut tonight, and is on course for P2. I feel like it's a tough ask, I think, for P1 at the moment. He's struggling to keep with that Red Bull, who just looks completely imperious today in Matt's.
Yeah, I will say Fairmoto is very, very close to the back.
Yeah, that's the only battle going on right now at the moment. The rest of the field fairly spread out.
I don't really want to watch it, but I will watch it.
I don't have that engine glitch, so I can watch it, which is more important, I suppose, since I am the commentator.
Yeah.
So thank God it's not happened to me.
Well, while you watch that, I'm going to see if there's anything going around the rest of the track. I mean, everyone's really spread out.
Yeah, it's quite spread out. Yeah, Leclerc and Fairmotor is the only close battle going on at the moment, so might as well keep the focus on them for now.
I think I'll watch Maniac actually as he tries to close in on Jamie 29 on his fresh set of meters, sort of softs rather.
Yeah, keep an eye on him, see what his pace is like, because obviously he's going to be on the freshest tyres of anyone at the moment. As Fairmotor DRS open, closing. Excuse me, closing. Fairmotor, is he going to dive at the inside? He is, but he's dived too hard. He has to take to the escape road. A bold move, it hasn't quite paid off, but no harm done. No damage caused to either driver, so he can just try again if he can. You get the sense, I think Fairmotor is quicker, but Leclerc is doing a fantastic job of keeping them behind and keeping Ferrari's title hopes alive as well.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I think if you're going to go for it, you've got to kind of make sure you don't kill the other driver, and I think Fairmotor's,
yes.
Well, what we've seen today is good at that, so it was refreshing to see. Scene between front two. No, sorry, go on.
Can I just apologise for that sneeze? I did say early on I am feeling a bit under the weather today, and I'm trying, obviously, to keep my professionalism up, but sometimes it's hard. Meanwhile, Fairmotor closing on Leclerc again, but not close enough this time. Go for a move. But yes, I apologise for the sneeze. I will try and keep my professionalism up best I can, but, well, there's only so much I can do.
That's the cold bitterness of Russia.
Yes, it is very cold in the motherland. I need a very strong vodka when I get home.
What I was going to say is Matt 45 and Matt seem to be just trading lap times at the moment. 1 minute Matt will be pulling in 3 temps, then Matt will pull out 3 temps.
Considering his tyres are much older, Matt 45 is doing a stellar job just to keep with the Red Bull. As Fairmotor, I don't think he's close enough this time to Leclerc. No, he does not. He keeps behind him. But I tell you what, Maniac closing in on Jamie 29 then. He's now
about to point that to your attention.
Fastest lap for the race as well. So he's on for a good run on him here, but not close enough, I don't think, yet.
Just reading what Sloppy put in the chat. He says, Mark, want to try a commentator curse? Say, it would be a shame if Matt 45 lost the podium now, then you can see if the curse works for every single league.
Go on then, let's try it. It really would be a shame if Matt 45 lost the podium now on his debut race for IRL. It really would be a shame if it happened. But at the moment, it doesn't. In all honesty, it's not looking like it's going to happen anyway. So we'll have to wait and see if it does. But no,
I don't think he'd forgive you if that happened, though, Mark.
No, I don't think he would. Meanwhile, Fairmotor close on Leclerc again. Not close enough though.
Maniac also all over the back of Jamie. I'll be watching that one.
No, I'm back on board as well. Jamie hopefully trying to do enough to keep him behind. And for now he is. RSF Maniac perhaps not going for it here.
He's got a lot of VRS left though, so I think...
Has he maybe used all of it to...
yeah, close in.
So now will he maybe just try and save a little bit to get back in? Meanwhile, up front though, Fairmotor, I don't think Leclerc's going to have any answer for him this time. He's got very close to the back of him. And I think he's finally got it done as Fairmotor. Oh, I tell you what, Leclerc though, brakes late. Oh! Bold racing
just about
there.
Keeps that on the track as well.
Yeah, fantastic attempts, but unfortunately not quite enough to keep the racing point behind. And Fairmotor does slot back into people. Oh, bit of contact between the two of them.
Hopefully no damage.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they got away with that. But I tell you, that was a bold attempt.
Fly off.
A bold attempt
Meanwhile,
to keep hold of
Gerbo.
P4.
Gerbo's closed in massively.
Yeah, I think their fighting has allowed the botchiest of gerbils to close in.
While that happened, we missed Maniac get ahead of Jamie.
Oh god damn it! I think we can be justified there. It was a very nice little battle going on, and yeah, at the moment it does look as though Alpaca Carbon is going to be settling for P3 because he's not really troubling the top two. Now, Fairmotor I know has a few penalties, so it could be interesting to see who takes P4 here.
Yeah, he'll want to get a move on, I think.
Yeah, Leclerc's not
right on the back of him.
Yeah, Leclerc's hanging on to him, and Bots Gerbil is getting involved in this fight now as well. And I also wonder if
fireworks.
I wonder if DZ Mates might just come under pressure from IRL F1 Maniac towards the end.
Yeah, and Matt's actually closed in within almost 2 seconds of Matt's.
He has indeed.
The battle for the win isn't over yet, which we thought it could well be.
Now, do you have to check the penalty situation on that? Because I know Matt has 1 penalty.
Yeah,
how many
Matt's
does
have a penalty?
Yeah, go. Can you check that for me?
Yeah, Matt's has 2 warnings, so he's 1 warning away from penalty.
So he's on the verge. So if he gets another penalty, it's game on.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he's just taking it a bit easier because he knows he's got that penalty.
And perhaps knowing that Matt has 1, if he's checked, which you can do, obviously. If he does know
Jeff
that,
is
maybe
mostly reliable.
He might know. Maybe he doesn't need to fight him too hard, and maybe he just needs to be cautious and be smart here. So we'll have to wait. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. See if Matt Twens does get that elusive last warning. But at the moment,
didn't have a good exit there.
As Fairmoto's
picked up another penalty.
Yeah, Fairmoto gets another one then, and that's not going to help him. I mean, like I said, he is definitely, almost certainly, going to be crowned champion tonight. But I think he would have hoped to at least have been on the podium, so he could have talked to him. But
yeah, I think he's unlucky that the game kicked him out and then just refused to let him back in, because I think he would definitely have been up there with Matt, maybe made a 3-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, very much potentially, because he was in that fight with the top 3, and then
it was very much a top 2 and 1-2 and then 3-4, but now it's turned into 1-2
and then 3 on his own. Yeah, it's and with a tight little scrap going on for P4. Yeah, it's unfortunate for the champion, because yeah, he was very much in that fight early on, but the disconnection has left him rather hung to dry, I think is the nicest way to put it.
Yeah, bittersweet moment maybe, but I don't think he'll care come the end of the race.
I tell you what though, Leclerc is dropping off of Fairmoto and into the clutches of Botch Gerbil, so Leclerc maybe just struggling. His tyres are 1 lap older than the 2 around him.
I'd like to say that doesn't really make an excuse though, because Matt bought 5 tyres with 2 laps younger, older rather than Matt.
Yeah, they're in
this closing.
Yeah, they're in the same condition as Leclerc's. It has to be said. You're absolutely right.
So maybe not, but what do we know? We're just commentators.
Fair point.
In this capacity, anyway.
So yeah, Matt 45. He can see that Red Bull ahead of him, but maybe just doesn't quite have enough grip to make that final charge towards the end. And even if he does, we know that he has a penalty, and Matt's at the moment at least does not. So at the moment,
Botch
Gerbil making a move. Yeah, there he goes. Oh, contact with the wall for Leclerc as he drops down to P6.
Gerbil did lock an inside wheel as well.
He did indeed. So Botch Gerbil moves up. Now, can he maybe put some pressure on Fairmoto? Although, with the amount of penalties that Fairmoto has been claiming, it looks as though he may well drop out of that P4 position anyway.
Yeah, almost. Matt's now within 1.7 seconds now, so I think this might come down to the final lap of the race, maybe.
It could do. So Matt Wens really needs to be careful here. I think he needs to make sure he does not get that additional warning that would give him the penalty, because otherwise Matt 45 could very well be quids in for the win.
Yeah,
because he's starting to just
Matt
reel
is
him
that
in.
wily kind of fox.
Yes,
Will pick up that win. It's not to say he's not a quick driver. He is quick, but he's also one of those drivers that will capitalise on any mistakes the people in front of him make. Obviously, he's leading the championship on Sundays, so
yes, in the F2
shows you the kind of consistency he has.
You're absolutely right. Meanwhile, another battle is starting to brew as IRL F1 Maniac is closing in on DZ Mates in the fight for 7th place. So that could be another one. Ferrari need as many points as they can, and with Fairmoto's penalties, they could still outscore Racing Point here, which at least would give them a fighting chance in the Constructors' battle. Next week, of course, the finale of the F2 season at Vietnam, the new track this year. So that's going to be...
Everyone loves Vietnam.
Well, I do. I certainly do, and I think that could be a great race.
I don't mind it, apart from what happened on Sunday, but, you know, maybe brakes need to work a bit better, but we apologise, so we're all happy with that one. But, you know what? I enjoy the track.
So 2 laps to go then. Don't forget, if you have been enjoying this racing, if you do want to sign up for the league, go check us out at InvictusRacingLeague.com. Make sure you give us some follows here on the YouTube page. Subscribe to watch not just the Xbox racing, you can watch the PS4 racing and the PC racing that goes on here as well. We do have a Twitch as well, mostly used, I believe, for the F1 Xbox division, but I think there may be other things that it's used for, which is obviously Invictus Racing League there. Give us a subscribe here, Invictus RL on the YouTube page.
For a move on to me. Oh, it's fun.
Oh, is that a spin for us?
Picked up a 3-second penalty.
So it's game on then. Game on then there. So big spin for Maniac, unfortunately. So not what he needed. He needed to be past mate to be good. But now Matt has the penalty. But I don't think Matt 45 is really close enough to take advantage of that. He's 2 seconds back, and
Unless you can find a second a lap, I don't think he'll be close enough at all to make it work. But you never know.
So Matt has got the penalty, but it's come a little bit too late for the Alfa Romeo driver to make a serious charge as we move on towards the final lap of the race then. Matt wins leads from Matt 45. I'll tell you what, this has been a fantastic drive by the Red Bull, who's going to claim not only his first podium, but his first win in the F2 division, F2 League.
Some Carbon fans in the chat.
Yeah, a pack of Carbon, Ruben Santos cheering him on. He's had a fantastic race, it has to be said. I got to be honest, I think I might. I don't know if I. Who would you give driver of the day?
It's a difficult one for driver of the day, isn't it?
It is a difficult one.
I think I'm going to give it to Matt Svens because although he's just led first to first, he's not done anything overtaking wise or anything like that. To take your first victory.
Yeah,
it's a very difficult thing to do because I know that I've battled many positions where I could have won the first race. It took me a few to get my first win where I've been in winning positions. So
I think I'm gonna.
I know what it's like leading from the front.
I think I'm gonna agree with you in honesty. Now, a pack of Carbon has done a fantastic race, and he is definitely a worthy candidate for driver of the day. But the problem I have given it to him is that his pace on the mediums has not been stellar. I don't know if he's got damage, of course. That's actually gone board with the Mercedes to see. No, he doesn't have damage on his wing, so he's just struggled for pace on these medium tyres, and he's just not been able to keep up with the top two. It's still going to be a fantastic first podium for the Mercedes driver, but I think on balance his pace has just not been as good as these two on the medium tyres, as they're just coming around the final couple of the corners now. Matt 45 brought him close, but he's not been able to stop this man from getting his first victory in IRL. Matt Wens wins the Russian Grand Prix. Matt 45 comes a very gallant second place in his first race in the league. And here comes Alpaca Carbon then. It's been a fantastic race, and he's going to claim his first podium of the season. Alpaca Carbon finishes in P3. Great race by the Mercedes driver to come home for his first podium. Now Fairmoto finishes fourth, but Bottas Gerbil jumps in. Leclerc jumps both of them to finish P4. Now that's going to help Ferrari's title aspirations. And now here comes DZ Mates, P7, P8, followed close by RS F1 Maniac. And RS F1 Maniac jumps both racing points have lost out to Ferrari there.
Yeah, it was a very interesting one, actually.
That goes to show you just how many penalties Fairmoto has. He's still going to be crowned champion of F2, but maybe not in the way he wanted to. But there is no taking away from the fact that Fairmoto is the champion of F2 this year. And I'll tell you what, the game has given the driver of the day to Alpaca Carbon.
Maybe no sight we don't. We're risking a chat revolt almost, because both Santos and Pantelli were both saying Carbon driver of the day. I think
he's definitely a worthy candidate for driver of the day, but you cannot take away what this man has done. You know, his first win as well, his first podium and a win. I think they're both worthy candidates. In fact, all three of the podium sitters I think are worthy candidates for driver of the day. On balance, though, I'm going to go with you and say Matt Wens is my driver of the day.
When your highest position isn't even a podium, you know, going on to take your first win, it's a difficult track. We mustn't forget. It looks easy, it is easy, but the corners, and we saw people spinning. You know, it's look at
the Ferrari boys. They are the only ones, I believe. I have a look. Oh, Scrub didn't get a penalty either, but still made P10. but they were the only other ones that didn't have any penalties. And look at how they have benefited from it just by keeping it clean. They have basically outscored Racing Point, and they've kept the constructors fight very much alive with them. So while the drivers' standings is very much over and done with, Fairmoto is the F2 champion. Congratulations to Fairmoto. In terms of constructors, yep, absolutely. Give him a round of applause. Fairmoto, fantastic effort this season, and you are the champion. But in terms of constructors, it is all still very much to play for between Racing Point and Ferrari. Now, AlphaTauri could still be in the fight if they turn up next week, but we'll have to wait and see if we do get those drivers in Vietnam. But we have got our drivers in, and so we have got time for the podium interviews then. So let's go first to the man who takes not only his first podium, but his first victory. His best result before this, I believe, was a P5 in Hungary. So fantastic effort. Well done to Matt Wenz in the Red Bull. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, tell us from your part. You qualified P2. Just was it P2 or was it P1?
Yeah.
It was P2.
No, P2. Fairmoto was P1.
Yeah, Fairmoto was P1. So you managed to just get the lead at the start, and then you just sort of talk us through the race from your point of view. Was it just a case of managing the gaps and making sure you didn't get any penalties?
I got one penalty at the end of the race, like last 3 laps or something. But I had a great start for Moto 2, but I was just a little bit faster. And at the end of the straight, or like half the way the straight, I was in front of Moto. And since then, I basically led the race.
You did indeed. You did come under some late pressure from Matt 45, of course. He was very quick on his debut, did get the undercut to really put you under some pressure. But in the end, you managed to hold him off. Were you afraid that maybe you would have come under pressure for him towards the end?
I heard from my engineer that he had a 3-second penalty.
Yep.
So I had none at that time. I was like, okay, I have a little bit of time to play, and I was just trying to keep it safe, not spin or misbrake. But it was the pressure was on, yeah, definitely.
Definitely on, yeah, absolutely. So moving into the final round, then Vietnam, your win propels you up into P7. So you're now going to be on to 55 points. You are just a little bit behind the Ferrari boys. RS F1 Maniac coming, I believe he finished 6th in the end, so he will get, I think that's 5 points. So he'll be on 57. Leclerc finishing 4th, so he jumps up to 12, 10, 8. Yeah, so I think he'll be on about 67. So you could still potentially split the Ferraris if you have a good race at Vietnam. And do you think you can have a good race at Vietnam? Is it a track that you are good at, or do you think you're going to struggle there?
I'm not really familiar there. I had a few races, but like not bad, not very good. I need a bit of practice.
Well, make sure you get those practice in, and we hope we do have a good race from you next week. Congratulations on the win today, though. Thank you very much for taking part in the podium interviews as well.
Thank you.
Now let's move on to the man who finished just behind him in P2 on his debut for IRL. It is a man that both me and Madman are very familiar with, Matt 45. Good race, my friend. Congratulations on your first podium of the season.
Yeah, well, it wasn't too bad. I was a bit scared at the start there, not quite sure what happened, but I think my teammate came right up the inside and hit the back of, I'm not sure who he hit the back of, but then he spun like right in front of me. And I really had to get out of it then, which pretty much allowed the two in front get out of DRS, and then it was pretty much try and get back in DRS, but I never managed it.
It's unlucky. So obviously I believe you started P3, was it?
Yeah.
So you had a good start as well, managed to jump Fairmoto, and then obviously, I mean, Matt Wen's pace was fantastic, but you were keeping him honest. Was there any point of that race that you thought maybe you could have taken the win off him?
My pace at the end definitely picked up. Once I got onto the mediums, I was really struggling with them, and I think that's where I lost a lot of my time. But once I really got going with them, I began to catch him a little bit. We seemed to have very similar pace there. It was like a tenth to me, a tenth to him, pretty much every lap. But I was just trying to get the DRS, but about half a second off in the end. But not too disappointing with P2. Me and him really seemed to pull away from everyone else, so not too bad.
Yeah, not a bad race at all, especially for your debut for the league. So obviously you'll get 12 points for the second place. So, excuse me, I think you'll be just behind DZ Mates and Jamie29, who have they've only just been getting some decent results themselves recently. Obviously, DZ Mates got the podium last week, which jumped him up to 12 points. He'll get a few points today. So theoretically, you could still get yourself maybe somewhere near the top 10, despite only racing 2 races. But of course, next week is a race that I think me and Madman would both understand that if you were not looking forward to it. Vietnam.
I mean, it's Vietnam, so I might be busy that week.
I've heard you love Vietnam.
Oh, you love Vietnam, don't you? I do hope you do turn up next week, but we'll have to see how it goes.
We'll see how things go.
Yeah. Well, let's hope you do turn up, and hope you do have a good race next week in Vietnam. But well done on today on the P2.
Cheers.
And now let's move on to the man who finished P3 in the end. Couldn't quite take the fight to the top 2 after going on to the mediums, but still a fantastic opening stint. Solidified the P3 result for Alpaca Carbon. His first podium of the season as well. And very much congratulations in order, because I believe your best result before this was a P6 in Hungary, or something like that anyway. Yes, it was. So, congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a fun race at the beginning.
So, obviously, you did things a little bit differently. So, obviously, you didn't qualify on the softs. You decided to stay where you were. So you were P8 on the intermediates, which allowed you to choose a fresh set of tyres. And unlike everyone else who got that option, you decided to start on the soft tyres. What made you choose that strategy, despite everyone else around you going on the mediums?
So I knew with heavy fuel, the medium tyres were a bit sluggish. So I thought, there's no harm going on softs, and I'll have newer softs than people in front of me. So just trying to keep up with the front guys at the beginning, and to see, because I just knew that the mediums weren't that good at the start of the race. So I just thought I'd sort things over, and I knew I'd had to jump on the medium guys around me.
Well, it was a fantastic start from P8 on the grid. I believe you were P4 by the end of it, and then obviously you claimed P3 once Fairmoto had his disconnection. You were really, really doing very well in that opening stint. What changed, obviously, when you went onto the medium tyres? You didn't seem to quite have the pace to challenge the top 2. Were you struggling on them, or was it just something else going on there?
Yeah, I think I was, because I had really good pace. I was with Matt, within DRS for pretty much most of the back end of the first stint. I pitted for the mediums a bit later. I tried going, because this late in the season, I've got really nothing to lose, so I thought if I go an extra couple of laps, have newer, fresher mediums, maybe. I knew the drop-off was quite heavy on these mediums, so I thought maybe at the end of the race, they might come into sort of my range, but they didn't quite, and I didn't have the pace on the mediums anyway, so I just had to settle for third. Like by the middle of the second stint, I just realised that I wasn't able to catch either Matt or Matt Wens. So
fair enough. It's still a very good result, though. Obviously, your first podium of the season, as I said. The result, obviously, was 10 points, so it will take you up to 26. I believe Scrub scored 1 point, so he'll be 1 point behind you on 25, so you have just cracked the top 10 with that good result. You probably need a fairly good result to jump ahead of Brad, but what do you think you can do for Vietnam? Is it a track you're looking forward to? Is it a track you're dreading, as some people probably are? What do you think you can do there?
To be honest, I haven't had much experience around there. I've done a few training laps and stuff like that, but it's a bit, I don't know. I just know that it's going to be an iffy race. There's going to be plenty of safety cars. It's definitely going to be an entertaining race, that's for sure.
Indeed it is. I'm expecting a very good race at Vietnam. So yeah, let's hope that you do have another good race. And once again, congratulations on your first podium of the season.
Thank you very much, guys. And I just want to say you guys are doing a good job at the moment, so thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the love that we've been getting in both the chats and obviously the Discord as well. I do once again, I do want to apologise if I've been a bit off colour tonight. Just been a bit unwell and under the weather today, but I've still tried my best, obviously, to give you the best that I can. And Madman, anything you want to add just before we wrap up?
No, I just want to congratulate all 3 drivers. Really, I thought, except Matt actually. I thought Alpaca Carbon did really well to get his first podium, and Matt's to get his first win. So I think, driving, knowing that those are the milestones and the ones you've not hit yet in the league must have been quite difficult, and I commend both drivers on it. And honestly, you're both driver of the day for me, because as much as I said it's Matt's, it is for me, but both of you did just as well as the other, to be honest.
I should also mention something I've just seen in the chat as well. I didn't actually know this rule. Apparently, if you get 15 seconds worth of penalties, that could actually be... Apparently, that's a disqualification, according to Coop. So,
did anyone get 15 seconds of penalties?
Yeah, Fair Moto got 15 seconds plus penalties. So apparently, that's a disqualification in IRL rules. It doesn't really affect him. He's still going to claim the title due to Farfu's no-show. But nevertheless, maybe not the way. What that does do, though, it definitely brings Ferrari a lot closer to Racing Point and Constructors. So, be interesting to see those tables once they're made up to see just how close that Constructors fight is going into the final rounds. But yeah, so that does mean, because of course that promotes Maniac up to P5, P6, I believe, or something along those. No, it promotes Mates up to P7, and then Scrub will get P9 in the end after that. Yeah. So, with that said, I will end the stream there, and thank you very much for watching. Once again, if you are interested to keep racing with us, go check us out on www.InvictusRacingLeague.com. Please give us a subscribe here on the YouTube page. It definitely does us wonders. Go check us out on our Twitch as well, /InvictusRacingLeague. And for myself, Lightshot16, and for my co-commentator, Madman, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week for the league finale. The driver's title may well be wrapped up, but the Constructors is anything but. It will be Ferrari versus Racing Point next week at the Vietnamese Grand Prix. Good night, everyone.